Here we go, John. A mood look, John. Good, John.
It was vintage 1966. Someone called the Dallas Cowboys the now team of the mod times. And Don Meredith was to be the leading man of pro football's new age.
Merlin Olsen once said that Meredith has a charisma. That's exactly what he's got. You don't know why, but you just consider him exceptional.
I don't think I've ever come across anybody in athletics that was as good at being a leader.
Wing zig out. We're cutting them. I tell you what, let's just group together. Everything's going all right. We're just making some mistakes, and those things, we'll get them over with. We're going to whip them. We're going to whip them.
Let's get on.
He always had his finger on the pulse of the team, on everybody, from the offense to the defense, to the star player, to the last guy on the bench. He cared about everybody. And I believe part of it was cunning. You know, part of it was just pure, sheer animal cunning, knowing that a team didn't win unless you did that.
Meredith had been with the winless expansion Cowboys in 1960. By 66, he had them on a dizzying climb up the standings. From 1966 through 1968, the Dallas Cowboys gained more yards and scored more points than any other team in the NFL. Number 22, Bob Hayes, the world's fastest human, made the Cowboys the world's fastest football team. Head coach Tom Landry's multiple formation offense revolutionized pro football, forsaking 3 yards in a cloud of dust for big plays in a burst of smoke. On defense, Landry's flex was equally ahead of its time. It, too, was the fastest unit in the league and ranked first against the run in 66, 67, and 68. The Cowboys had the muscle and the head. It would be up to Meredith to supply the heart.
We were playing the Redskins, and Don was beaten up worse that day than I think I've ever seen any athlete take punishment like this in one game. One of his ribs broke, punctured a lung, and while we're in the game, I remember coming back towards the huddle, and he's just lying down there, and I said, Don, Jesus, you know, somebody is calling somebody to come carry him off the field. And he just looked up at me and said, just get me to my feet.
The Cowboys trailed 30-28, but Meredith rose off the canvas and showed his teammates how to rise to the occasion.
And we were down with just 90 seconds to go in the game, and we had 99 yards to go. The team should have been down mentally and ready to give up.
Meredith came out, stepped into the huddle, and he smiled, and he says, okay, boys, we're going to run and pass this ball down the field and win this game.
All right, now I want you to listen to me, and listen good, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball, we're going to pass the ball, we're going right down this field, and we're going to score.
The most intense experience I ever had. And I stepped back out of the huddle, and I took off my helmet, and I looked up, and he was so focused, you know, and I looked up. Suddenly, I was losing focus. I saw the crowd, and I could feel, it was like I was being lifted out of the field and up into the air.
I mean, I can feel that now, and I get goosebumps when I think about it. And we systematically marched down the field. Everybody in that offensive huddle knew that we were going to score. And nothing Washington did or could do was going to stop the Dallas Cowboys.
It was the fall of 1966, and the Cowboys had climbed to the threshold of greatness. Only one team stood in their way. It was a clash not so much of teams, but of times. Tradition versus innovation. Destiny versus dynasty. The invincible image of Lombardi's Packers was taking a beating. Twice Green Bay built leads of 14 points. Once, the Cowboys came back to tie. And the second time, the Cowboys cut it to 7 on Meredith's 68-yard touchdown to Frank Clark. With under 2 minutes to go, the dynasty was in danger. and the Cowboys had their destiny and the ball at the 2-yard line. An offsides penalty cost them 5 yards. Then, running back Dan Reeves tried to see the way to victory.
And I actually went in the line and I got hit in the eye by Ron Kostelnik. And I probably should have come out of the ball game, looking back on it. But I had kind of a blurry vision or a double vision. And the next play, as he laid it off to me, I should have caught it because I had 2 chances. I saw 2 balls, but I didn't catch the ball.
Eye right. 93 T pull on set. Ready?
On 3rd down, Meredith had tight end Pettis Norman open at the goal line, but underthrew him. Norman caught it at the 2. That brought 4th down, and history hung on the execution of a single play.
What happened was that Coach Landry sent in a play that was designed to go be run when Frank Clark and myself were in the game. And unfortunately, Bob Page was in the game at that time, and he didn't know how to run that play.
Now, it's important for Frank Clark, who comes in always on goal line at the split end, to block Robinson, the linebacker, so he doesn't penetrate upfield. If he penetrates upfield, then you can't get your guard out in front of you, and then your rollout chances are gone. Hayes has never played on the goal line. He doesn't know what the play is. He's never practiced it. So Hayes doesn't make the block. He just shoots between the linebacker and the tackle and goes out into the corner. Robinson's upfield too fast. He grabs Meredith. Meredith, just since it's 4th down, he just throws the ball away.
Intercepted by Tom Brown. Dave Robinson nailed Don Meredith, and the Packers have just taken the championship.
The analysis of the game is Meredith throws an interception, which was not what happened at all. That was not what happened at all. It was a horrible thing to see happen.
1 year later, the Cowboys again faced the Packers for the NFL championship. This time, it was the chilling championship, the Ice Bowl, the most famous game in NFL history. But this time, the Cowboys had the lead, 17-14, and the Packers had to travel 68 yards in the game's final 5 frozen minutes.
I remember a sinking feeling in my stomach that I'd never experienced before. Watching that game from the sideline, it was like a horror story being played out. And I was part of it, and it was real, and I was being chased by the monster.
The Packers took their final timeout at the 1. Again, the Cowboys would need just one play to topple a king and become one themselves.
Here are the Packers. 3rd down, inches to go. To Bader. 17-14. Cowboys out in front. Packers trying for the go-ahead score. Starr takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneak, and he's in for the touchdown. The Packers are out in front. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
I got to tell you, I've never seen a loss take the heart out of a team like that loss took it out of the Dallas Cowboys.
When the heart was gone, the soul was soon to follow. After a playoff loss to the Cleveland Browns the next year, Don Meredith retired at the age of 31.
We went into this restaurant, and somebody noticed Don and I, and they started booing him. And the people sat there in this restaurant and stood up and booed him until we left.
Oh, it hurts to get booed. The most disappointing thing is that in your heart, you know you did the best you could. You know you did the very best that you could. And then they just say, whammo, they just they really let you have it. And you want to say, hey, but you really don't understand, people. You don't really understand what it's all about.
And just because they didn't win it all, the greatness of Meredith's Cowboys may never be understood.